Welcome to your online coffee break, where we discuss bite-sized topics that inspire, educate, and entertain. Here's your host, a software innovator, award-winning marketer, and astronomy and space buff, Chuck Fields.
Hello, thanks for joining me today for your online coffee break. Today I'd like to welcome my special guest, Loretta Swit. Loretta is best known for her role as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan on MASH, the popular TV series that ran for 11 seasons and is still in syndication. Loretta is an award-winning actress, an amazing artist, and founder of SwitHeart Animal Alliance, a nonprofit organization working to prevent animal cruelty.
Online coffee break.
Hello, Loretta. This is Chuck Fields with Online Coffee Break.
Of course it is.
Who else would it be?
Talk about, well, who else would it be at 10 o'clock this particular morning? Because I am up and ready to answer your questions if I can.
I think that's wonderful. I think I'm ready too. You know, I got up this morning, I listened to Reveille, I made the bed with hospital corners, and I saluted the American flag. I think Major Houlihan would approve.
It's fascinating. After all these years, people are lusting to speak about MASH, and it's like, God, you know everything about us at this point. What is there left to tell you? And then I realize that generations of fans keep coming up. So yes, it's new to them, and they want to know all this stuff. So talk away.
All right. Well, again, let's talk about your book. Now, your book is called SwitHeart: The Watercolor, Artistry, and Animal Activism of Loretta Swit.
That is true.
What I love is I found out that you've actually had an art interest since age 6. Can you tell us a little bit more about the artsy side of you?
Yeah. You know, at that point in time, I didn't think of it as I have this interest in art, you know.
Yeah.
I was always doodling and painting and sketching. My mother, of course, could not understand this child she had produced, this child of 6 who would rather stay home and draw and paint than go out and, I don't know, jump rope or play hopscotch or something.
Sure.
She just did not know what this little creature was all about. But I begged her to submit a drawing of mine to this child's contest, you know.
Yeah.
And I won. You know.
Wow.
So I guess part of her said, "Oh, gee, maybe I don't let her alone. Let her do what she wants to do."
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I still love it in the same way. I'm untrained, and I like it that way because you know why? It gives you great freedom.
Yeah, I bet it would.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm glad you like it. And yes, it does look like your dog, doesn't it? Well, I know. I don't know how I did it. I don't know that I could do it again exactly the same way, but thank you. And so forth. The book is doing very well. I'm also in the process of packing 100 books to be shipped out for my appearance in June. And it's for a company called Livestream. Mm-hmm. And I'm keynote speaker, speaking on various subjects. I'm sure MASH will want to be one of them, but
Sure.
Mostly it's aging gracefully and knowing there's a whole life out there for older people. People are living longer
Right.
and better. We're more aware of health and how to take better care of ourselves. Blah blah.
Yeah.
My own mother, the one who didn't understand what this creature was, she passed at 106.
Wow.
So it's a testimony to what we can do if we want to.
You know, I totally agree with you on that because I actually am amazed at how much people can do when they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s. You know, life does not end. There's no peak,
sure.
You know, like a fine wine, we get better with age. You know, there's no limit to what we can do.
That's right. Jane Fonda did a wonderful video a couple of years ago about how there's no downside anymore, that it just keeps going up and up and up, you know, the diagram of a lifespan. And I do agree with her, and I do adore her. So, but I mean, she's very, very bright and insightful. And I've always believed that you just kind of keep on living your life. You just keep on doing what you do. I think loving what you do plays a great part in your health and your well-being, your drive, if you will, your
Sure.
drive, and passion. Passion, I think, is part of that drive that fuels you to keep on going, and you don't think about age except as a number. And I think that's important. So I'm testing out some of my keynote speech on you right now. But
I am impressed.
So we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to talk about art and acting and so forth and so on.
Well, Loretta, one of your other passions, if I may, is animals. And you're the founder of SwitHeart Animal Alliance. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, the overall mission is to just end cruelty and suffering. But specific projects, if you will, is to try to stamp out puppy mills, kitten mills, which are blight on our society. Big thrust is education, teaching people about spaying and neutering so that we can take ourselves out of the murder business. We kill millions of animals in North America alone because there are no homes for them, urging people to be wise enough to adopt shelter dogs, to foster shelter animals and so forth, and not be seduced by a cheaper opportunity from a puppy mill, which produces more often than not very sad, depressed, and diseased puppies or kittens because they're not cared for. They're not, these people don't care about the health of the animal. But I mean, I'm devoted to getting out that message that we owe our war dogs and our service dogs a great deal.
And that is wonderful. And I understand what I love is your book, you can get it by donating to your organization and by going just to SwitHeart.org. Is that correct?
Correct.
Excellent.
Yes. And just press that donate button or buy a book for yourself, for your friends, for your enemies.
Well, Loretta, I think that's fantastic. I just encourage all our listeners out there, just go SwitHeart.org and check that out. Now, I would like to switch gears if I may. I wanted to congratulate you first for recently receiving the Icon Award at the Oscars this year.
Was that not wonderful?
Yeah,
or was it wonderful? Those are your two choices. Was that not wonderful, or was it just absolutely wonderful? and to get my buddy Jamie Farr, who he's such a sweetheart.
Right.
Unbeknownst to me, they called him and said, "We would love for you to present the award to your battle buddy, Loretta Swit."
Incredible.
But he's a very special friend. My guys, as I refer them to, my family.
Yes.
We are very, very close. Everybody knows that.
See, that's what I love. And I have to admit, I loved the reunion recently on Alan Alda's podcast, Clear and Vivid.
Did you?
That was just fantastic.
Wasn't that fun?
Yeah. One thing that amazed me is you said you were always surprised when people ask you, do you stay in touch with your MASH colleagues? And you're like, well, of course. They're like family to you.
Yeah. Not surprised so much as it's a question that rings differently in my ear. It would be akin to saying, so do you talk to your mother all the time? Or do you keep in touch with your father or your brother? Well, of course. I mean, they're family. It's kind of like that. So you have this funny reaction. Do you keep in touch? It's out of context. It's the wrong phrase. We don't keep in touch. We're bonded. We're totally bonded. So I know pretty much always what's going on. We all do with each other. Somebody had a hangnail. Did you hear? Yeah. I mean, it's wonderful. That. It's just so wonderful. And it gets deeper. I think losses very often bring people closer because it puts you in touch with your own mortality, and it reminds you that the mortality of your family is also a reality that you have to deal with. And with each loss, losing Harry and Larry Linville, losing McLean, and just recently David Ogden, before that Bill Christopher, and before that Wayne Rogers. And, it just, each loss is a body blow that turns you inside. And then you look at your surviving family and you care even more deeply, because it's not a forever thing. Our life is, Kazantzakis says, our life is a journey to death. And in fact, this is what it is. When you realize this, so why you treasure this miracle of a family that I have, even more so when you realize that you need to treasure it now, every moment.
Absolutely.
While you have it.
Loretta, can I ask, was it like that from the beginning when you first started working on the set of MASH? Did you guys click immediately?
Yes. And we're talking about a different group. Yes, from the get-go, from hello, I would say so, yes. And Wayne and I had this funny theory. When we shot the pilot, we were up at 5 a.m. at the Fox Ranch, and it was very cold. It was very cold, and it was winter. Even California winter. They can be cold. And then we're also in the canyon. It was freezing, and we were shooting, of course, as film will do. We were shooting the Christmas show. Anyway, the boys were in Hawaiian shirts. Yep. and we were huddled together for warmth. And Wayne and I would joke about that. It's hard not to get to know each other really well when you're in each other's arms immediately.
That's awesome.
And poor Wayne, his nose was turning blue. And I mean, it was just and we all had the same, I think, funny bone. Laughed immediately at our plight. But yes, and I think valuing the content of the series, the episodes, the storyline, the valuing the content of MASH also instills a kind of bonding and awe of what you're doing. You have a great respect for the material. We had the most wondrous writers, beginning with Larry Gelbart. And that the work itself and our approach, which was similar, all from theater, we're theater trained, it just led itself very instinctively and naturally to this family bonding. Wayne said to me one day, every time I run into a fan, they're saying, "Hey, keep up that good work." He said, "I feel like I'm on a football team. What is it?" But the audience grasped that immediately. Yes. And the kind of natural joy we had being together, working together, and loving each other was always there. It was nothing we had to work at. Right. We didn't have to pretend to like being there, working with each other. And here we are, close to the front, doing a very difficult job.
Exactly.
That family nurturing and feeling the love was just always there. So our audience, I believe, responded to that instinctively.
Oh, it was incredible. And one thing I have to commend you on is all of you were so skilled at what you do. And I love how you evolved the Major Houlihan character. And I love how you were,
thank you.
Yeah, you were able to approach the director and say, hey, and even the writers, I think you approached them and they ask you, okay, where do you see this character going? And you evolved that character. I don't know if you real quickly, you can tell us how that worked.
Well, it took a lot of years, so I can't do it too quickly. Sure. But I was blessed with people with taste and brains and talent. So to have a sit down and a talk and let's try this. Can we do this? What do you think about that? But that went for all of us. Everybody contributed to the growth, if you will, of their characters, or even storylines. Mike Farrell, of course, wrote scripts, which I mean, it in itself tells you how involved we were with our characters, that we knew them so well that we were able to imagine a situation and write about it. And I gave storylines. Yes, I suggest this. It's a storyline. You're saying, well, this is what I feel should happen to her. How do you feel about this? I suggested her engagement, her marriage, her faulted honeymoon, and so forth. But so yes, and we all did that. And the writers pulled from what they knew about us. They pulled ideas. Gary is a terrific musician. Bill was played the piano. They used what they knew about us. The minute they found out I was into yoga, next thing you know, she's pulling her arms and legs in her tent, and Larry Linville is grabbing her and calling her his favorite little yogi or whatever. I mean, they always were into watching us and listening to us and pulling from our ideas. Burt Metcalf, one day we were watching a scene, and I said to Burt, I wish Margaret were funnier. He said, what are you talking about? She's so funny. I said, no, I mean, yes, she makes you laugh. I wish she had a sense of humor, making the jokes. I was barely finished saying that, and Bert had disappeared, and the next thing you know, he had written a script in which a girlfriend from nursing school comes to visit and sees the change in me, that I'm more serious, I'm efficient, I'm this and that, and she paints this picture of Margaret the clown in nursing school, and the fun and the laughs, and through her eyes, we find Margaret has a sense of humor, and she just buried it. She just didn't think the nurses would listen to her if she was making jokes, if she was a comrade and a colleague, and with that visit, her friend brings that back out in her, and in the tag, I'm with Hawkeye in the supply room, and I make a joke, and he stops, he freezes and says, Margaret, that was a joke. That was, I mean, it wasn't a funny hoo-ha, but it was a joke, Margaret. You actually made a joke. So it became like a thing. And from that episode on, every once in a while, we could write a joke for Margaret, you know, and she could appreciate more the craziness and humor of the guys, because up till then it was a thorn in her side, their irreverence, if you will. But now we've brought out her jokester quality and her perhaps irreverence and so forth. So it opened up a whole can of beans, and that was the brilliance of the production team. The writers were always operating on an as-if basis. What if so-and-so and so-and-so got stuck with a flat tire on their way to the airport and they had to spend the night together? What would happen? And you had these two characters who are the most dissimilar, let's say, would be Klinger and Margaret. And they wrote a plot around that. They used that as a plot. And I won an Emmy. And thanks, of course, to everybody concerned, mostly Jamie, who was so lovely and touching and wonderful in that episode. And we really ignited the best in each other. Everybody, the crew, you had the ensemble were so happy to be with us. And I mean, they were cast. They were our cast. And, if you take the time when you're watching an episode, you watch the background. You watch how good, how excellent our people were. They were real. They just weren't acting, and it just and this has everything to do with enhancing your belief in what you're watching. And if the message of what you're watching is, as I feel, important and educational, enlightening, as many of the messages were in MASH, and it was still managed to be funny and entertaining.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, that kind of work doesn't come to you every day. It just was, for me, 11 years of an extraordinary experience.
What a journey. And you're such an icon, and all the characters, especially Margaret Houlihan, were just so human and so real. Loretta, I just want to thank you for just taking time to join us today. It's been amazing following your career, and what an honor just to speak with you.
Thank you. You're very, very kind. You enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless.
Online coffee break.
Wow, I really enjoyed my conversation with Loretta today. Hope you did too. If you'd like to find out more about her, just go to her website, SwitHeart.org. I want to thank Loretta for joining us today. I want to thank you for taking time to join us as well. If you'd like to comment on today's topic, just go to our website, onlinecoffeebreak.com. We'd also love it if you'd follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Online Coffee Break. Also appreciate it if you'd take time to share this episode with a friend or subscribe to us on your favorite podcast application. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time. God bless.